Welcome back to a brand new episode. Today we're headed to a mine called Mountain Boy Mine Operation right up this canyon. Should be an interesting one. We got 5 miles to go, so stay tuned. Heading up the canyon towards the mine, there's these remains. We still got a ways to go to get to the mine itself, but this just gives an indication of where the mine was and the remains, how significant this mine was as well. It's a couple old wood, some metal. That's about it as we keep going up. Now, oddly enough, if you look this way, what's that about? I'll explain some more soon, but just coming up to this cabin, used to be a clothing line. There's another cabin up ahead, so we're gonna drive up and check that one out too. They left an old battery. Check that out. This is the old cabin. Tons of stuff left behind. Look at all these beds they left. Huge one right there. Smaller one. This is really insane. Got the cupboards. How to walk around it. Here we go. What would have that been? It looks almost like a sink in a way. But there's the sink. They had plumbing here. That was the whole kitchen area. Cupboards right there. That's a table. I like that. Window's still intact. It's because it's been boarded up, so nobody's ruined it. You could see this is where we're at right now. That's Mountain Boy Mine. It's on forestry land. This is the land maps I used, make sure I keep on, that's private, that's private. Make sure I keep on public land. I'm on public land right now. All right. See, coming up here, federal mining claim, property of the United States. No trespassing. It says property of the United States. See, this is private. Got all the signs. Let's see. Wonder if they have a date. I don't see a date. Now we're allowed to walk around it. It just means not going inside. But that's an old miner's cabin. This is probably someone's prospecting spot now. That's why it's all closed off like that. Which is a bummer. I don't run into that a lot. There's another building over here that we'll have a look at. So one down there. Then going across adjacent to us in this canyon, that's an old cabin. Got a log cabin right here. Not a log cabin, a workshop. One time had no trespassing. Got the big doors, generally how a workshop is laid out. Now interestingly, these are ore carts, which meant it probably had something to do with processing. There's a big ore cart coming out here. And that's the mine actually, which I believe is closed off. It's interesting to see a mine adit and then have this building right next to the adit like that. Around the old building. Made it out of logs, of course, log cabin style. And check this out. An old dynamite box. That is cool. I like seeing those. We'll have a look at that in a second, see if the mine's even open. But first, let's scope this area out. Look at all these ore carts left. That's really neat. So after the mine was used, they took them out, maybe expecting to reuse them or relocate them to another mining site. That's generally how we do it. But they just got left to the side. But it's this big open area. This is all waste rock, what we're on right now. The metal rails, of course, following them along. I believe that was the main mine, what we had ran into just now. They did have a reservoir. It's pretty common in mining. And right there is a neat log cabin. I say we go check out real quick. Look around us too. It is a smoky day. And another one, just spotted that cabin. Pushed to the side. I drove right past that one without knowing it. So I have to look at that one too. And check it out. Interestingly, here's a trail that goes to the cabin. That's how you know it gets visitors. Or maybe it's just a game trail. And then right next to it is these cabins, old miners' cabins. There's just 2 individual rooms. Not anything inside of them. They're definitely weathered away. Let's go back to the mine. Looking back at the main mine, what's interesting is when you look up this mountain, I'm not sure if you could see it or not, but right here is waste rock. It's kind of difficult to see with all the smoke, but that means there's an adit up there. It doesn't look like a significant amount of waste rock, but definitely more than just a testing pit. Come on, keep going. Don't need more mine explorers around here. I'm pretty sure it's a waiting game where they're waiting for me to leave and I'm waiting for them to leave so I could film. Both on public land. Both have the same idea, let's go explore some abandoned mines, but just waiting it out. Dun 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 dun. Oh. Maybe I can now go check out this mine that I've been wanting to check out. They're gone. I think. Let's see. Yeah, I don't hear no one. So, you got the rails. Right next to the rails, I want to see if this mine is closed or collapsed in, or what's going on with it, because we're standing at the portal. If it isn't collapsed in, it's definitely going to be a sketchy one. That's the adit. With enough work, you could dig it out and get into it. And I would trust it somewhat because of these roots. It's all rooted. There's trees above it. But that's collapsed in. It's not going to be open for a long time. There's no way. Well, we're done with this site anyway. We'll go check out the rest. We're all done right here. Now we're going to head down, check out the rest of this stuff. This is just a production section. And we'll keep going. Yeah. There's the first cabin that we've seen. And then next to it is another one. No way anyone's driving on here. Trees growing right in the middle of this road. That just shows how unused these roads are. What's funny about this mining claim is that the only mine that's even here has been closed off. We just looked at it and there's no way in. So clearly they haven't been doing very much mining and they haven't been very successful in their ventures. But this is a neat building. There's a bed right here with all this stuff left behind too. A neat table. Wow. Usually you don't see the beds all intact like this. Only thing it's missing is the mattress. Some shelving. Look at that. Food King detergent. All purpose. There's tons left. And nobody get after me about this because I know damn well those people who were here too, they went in all these buildings that I went in. So if you want to go after someone, gotta go after them too. Look at the size of these logs. They're humongous. And the old furnace stove pipe. Ah, nice chair. What is it, an electric chair? Why does it have a light bulb on it? That's interesting. But yeah, we'll leave this cabin now. Look at the outside of it. The roof isn't too bad. It's this corrugated metal. Then coming up, old miners road right here. No mine operation up there. It kind of just trails out. Extremely neat. Look how they packed it. It's this sand substance. Same stuff that's on the ground. It's almost like a thick clay. Idaho tends to have a lot of that. This does seem like a somewhat well-visited mine operation, just based off the trails. Every single one of these cabins I'm going to, an indication of that is if there's trails from people walking around them. And just how I am, there's a trail right here. All right, you guys, let me give you a little backstory real quick. I was driving on the highway to get to this mine operation. There's someone ahead of me, and they happened to turn off the same forest road I needed to turn off. I was following Google Maps, and then we ended up on the same forest road. I was driving behind them, and I was just hoping, okay, take a left, take a right, because there's all these intersections we were coming up, crossroads per se. And as we were driving, the dude finally let me pass because I had a smaller vehicle. I was going faster than him. So I managed to drive up this. They were out of sight, so I kind of assumed they already arrived at whatever destination they were going to on these four-wheel trails. No, what happened was I hit the mine operation. A minute after getting there, I was getting all my video equipment ready to make a video. they pull up at the same mine operation. They start exploring the same stuff I'm exploring. And that's just what happens when two people have the same objective, you know? Both plan to check out this mine operation today. They don't own it or anything. And it was funny though, because as I was exploring, I was kind of looking out going like, damn, is this kind of sketchy, you know? Like, what if there's some sort of, you know, it's public land, but people like to say, oh, this is private property, even though it's public. And they're thinking the same thing, because when I was up checking out those cabins, I looked down the hill and I seen the guy looking at me, kind of like concerned that he didn't want to go trespass in one of the buildings, which isn't technically trespassing. And then the moment I looked away, they were gone. I'm walking back after the buildings and they're inside one of the cabins. It was just funny though. So I ended up coming back to the vehicle. I wanted to check out that mine. They came up wanting to check out that mine at the same time. We waited it out. They ended up going up the mountain. And by the time I left, they headed back down and started checking out that mine area. And I started checking out the cabin that they checked out originally while we were up at that mine. So kind of funny. You know, that's what happens. You know, you go out exploring. Sometimes you run into people. I've never had that experience. This is big middle of nowhere places where there's probably nobody else who's going to come up here today. It's that desolate of a place. It's just weird that it just happens to be at the same exact time somebody else hits up the road at the same time as you. And they're probably thinking the same thing as me, like, oh, this freaking coming up through this mine operation when I'm trying to explore it. But it is what it is.